And Pakistan's bid to slip out of FATF's grey list. To discuss the implications, we are joined on Newsnight, Mr. RSN Singh, a renowned strategic expert on the show. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, there's a lot of background to the way Pakistan in the earlier past has also tried to wriggle out from the FATF grey listing. But this time, what are your thoughts? How conclusive is this going to be, sir?
No, I think some precautions they have already taken. They've gone in for change of nomenclatures. Now you have Lashkar-e-Toiba operating as a resistance front in India, and then similarly they will go in for change of names on a different umbrella organization, change in nomenclatures. But the immediate impetus, I suppose, is this Qureshi's visit to China, and I'm certain that the Chinese have must have told Qureshi that look, it is very difficult. It's becoming increasingly difficult for them to bail Pakistan out, and it has caused a lot of embarrassment as far as China is concerned. And that may be one reason, and the second reason, I suppose, is that there is the funds that are drying up as never before, because the Saudis have asked for their money back. They have taken loans from China to repay to repay Saudi Arabia. So this arrangement cannot go for very long, that you take money from the Chinese, and then repay your loans to, Saudi Arabia. And thirdly, there is a massive geopolitical flux that is happening in the Islamic world or in the Gulf region, and where, I think the Pakistan as a country, if I recall right, since 1947, the turn of events, it has never been so, been a victim of the, flux in geopolitics, as such a big victim of flux in geopolitics in the Islamic world. So the there, of course, and the financial angle with loans and prospects of loans drying up, that may have impelled Pakistan to take a step. But remember one thing,
yes,
and remember one thing, that all these jihadi tanzeems are strategic arms for Pakistan.
No, but is this the beginning of these jihadi tanzeems that you're talking about? The larger question, sir, being is this just a hogwash, or this is going to be conclusive? Because everyone, the whole world knows the way Pakistan has always provided safe havens to these terror outfits. But is actually Pakistan now cracking the whip on them?
No, why should they? Why should they crack the whip? Why should they crack the motivations? There is you remember, just go through the speech when Musharraf took over. He clearly said, he quoted something from Islamic scriptures, and that we had mended fences with the Jews when it suited us, and we betrayed them when it suited us. So it is after all, jihad is an intrinsic part of Pakistan's philosophy, or the Islamic philosophy. Jihad and zakat, you raise money for funding warfare, and which is jihad. So jihad and zakat are two aspects which differentiate the Pakistani or Islamic philosophy from other faiths.
Okay.
So if you think that they are going to jettison the very basic philosophy of existence and warfare, I'm sorry, this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Having said that,
best,
yes, go ahead,
what you can expect is maybe in a day or two you may find out that they have said that either Dawood Ibrahim he's already dead, or he's been killed. That has been my conjecture for many years now. This is what is going to happen. And these guys are already now, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, they are now more active, in Afghanistan now. In Afghanistan now, and some of these cadres, they have all lapsed into Islamic State. So you will have these Islamic State cadres, being more active throughout India. And you have seen one doctor, ophthalmologist, apprehended in southern part. And you have today somebody apprehended from Dhaula Kuan. And then you had, waving of IS flags for a very long time. Mirwais Omar Farooq's Friday prayers.
But what really now prompted Pakistan to come out openly as far as these so-called addresses of Dawood Ibrahim in Karachi is concerned? Do you think this could also be seen actually as an admission of guilt by terror state Pakistan? Mr. Singh?
Come on. There is no question of guilt, because as I said, that you may find it out of place that it is jihadism an intrinsic part of their the whole philosophy of warfare, and when Dawood fits into that philosophy. Remember, in Western India, Dawood controls three major aspects. Dawood network of Indian national life, and that is Bollywood, cricket and politics. And you see its full manifestation. You see its full manifestation playing out now here in Mumbai, and you saw its manifestation sometime back in Delhi. So he was the only thing that is going to happen is that they may say he has disappeared, they may say he's known, he died, what happened in case of Mullah Omar? Didn't you know that Mullah Omar has been killed? Okay. For how long did they conceal it? So this is what you are going to hear. And ma'am, sorry to say, since 1400 years, nothing has changed.
Okay.
Nothing has changed and nothing is going to change. We should not look at things through our own prism, our own convenient prism. We have suffered enough, because we have failed to read these ideologies, and you tried to somehow.
Mr. Singh, now yes. If Pakistan fails to comply this time, they're staring at very, very tough financial sanctions, the funding from IMF, ADB, all that will be crippled and Pakistan will suffer. Pakistan is already precariously placed, financially speaking. Will Pakistan, has Pakistan any options in terms of not really complying to FATF now? They will have to do it. They will have to implement. Or do you think they will try again to wriggle out?
No, you have used the correct word, wriggle out. So, if you have used this word wriggle out, it does not entail, change in heart. So that is not going to happen. We have seen enough, and the proof. The proof of pudding lies in eating. So let's wait. I suppose we have been, we have tried to entertain ourselves with these, bouts of optimism many times before, and you will be dejected like before. Let me tell you. Yes, what you can expect is that some major changes that may take restructuring in the whole jihadi structure. That is what you can expect. Nothing more than that. People must realize that if they jettison the jihadi tanzeems, Pakistan will collapse. Pakistan will collapse. So that is not going to happen. And remember this has been a facet of Pakistani warfare right since 47. 47, who attacked first? It was the tribal, imbued. They tried to imbue them with jihadism.
Okay, all right.
Then in 65 you had this of Gibraltar, and then in 71 you had two brigades, Al Shams Brigade and Al Badr Brigade.
Very briefly, just to wrap it up, what further damage does it do to Pakistan's global image now, for the fact that now they have admitted that these are the addresses where these terror outfits are operating under open air? Very quickly, sir.
I suppose they no longer. They hope to find a decent place as far as the Committee of Nations is concerned. because they feel that, the Chinese,
Right.
will bail them out on every issue, on every occasion. So to that extent, they have accepted to be a vassal state of China,
We'll
and
have
that
to
is what it gives them the confidence.
All right, on that we'll have to see what really happens by October. Thank you very much, Mr. Arasin Singh, for joining us on Newsnight tonight, strategic affairs expert. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. And now let's move